Okay, I want to showcase to you how I'm setting up my vibe coding infrastructure. So right now, what I recommend doing is to not have it on your own machine. So I did create an LXC inside my home lab, my Proxmox server. You can use a Docker image or whatever you need to, but I strongly would recommend you to not run it on your own machine. So yeah, it's just an LXC for now. That's about it. Now, if you SSH into it, right now, the main reason why I don't want it to be in my computers is because, well, I don't want it to break stuff. I'm not sure if I have OpenCode installed, but if you don't pay for any AI agent at all, I would recommend you to use OpenCode. Yeah, right now it has my own model, but you can use a bunch of free ones. That's why I'm recommending it if you've never started like that. And you can do if you don't know an AI agent, that's a model plus a harness. What I selected here is the model. The model, you can think it as the brain. And the harness is whatever the model can do. So run, read commands, and a bunch of others. Now, what actually changed on my vibe coding setup is I run so many AI agents that I'm starting to use an agent development environment. That's Orca. I can show you on the. I was vibe coding my own, but a bunch of that product is more mature than what I was doing. The only thing it's missing is agent isolation, which I can add later. But yeah, Orca basically is an agent development environment. Basically, you can, I'll show you, but you can orchestrate multiple agents to work together. That's free and open source, and I'll paste the link in the video if you want. So now you can create project. Um, Let's just start with something small. Depending on what we want to do, I'll showcase the CTI dashboard for now, because that's something that I'm working on. The CTI dashboard will just be something for my agent to always fetch news on the internet. Well, while we're talking about setting up, I would strongly recommend to use voice to talk to your AI agent. You can use Handy or Whisperflow, depending if you, at least that's what I use. So Handy here, it runs locally, so that's why I'm recommending it. I also have a Whisper running on my OLRS cluster, but that's not something that I use on my cell phone and stuff like that. I use Whisperflow if you don't know, but there's honestly, right now, there's so many alternative right now, so you can do whatever it is. But yeah, Whisperflow is just that. You'll see it at the bottom of it. It's like dictates, and you'll see it while we're running. What's the goal of this project? So the reason why you want to run on another machine is like I run with dangerous escape permission. If you want to orchestrate a bunch of others, you don't like if you want to orchestrate 10 or 15 agents, you don't want to check everything that they're doing. So yeah, right now there's mistakes. So that's one thing that I want to change. I don't want to use basically what it's doing. I can showcase the project right now, but it's important to know if you're in the same space as the coding agent. That's why I'm doing that. So the goal of that project is pretty much the North Star, I did that project before, but if we did something new, I would create a PRD and then work upon it to make sure that we are on the same space. Can you check everywhere that mentions like Olama? I don't want Olama to run on my CPU. I don't need it. I really want to check all the files with Olama and replace it with the main model that we're using right now. We don't need a local model for this for now. And see here, you can see it's running. So if I do another one, you can see, so it will see and tell me once it's done. And you can click and pretty much orchestrate however you want. You can use a bunch of other coding models. So if you want to use OpenCode, you can do so. So you can split the model that you're using with the harness. Yeah, here we can stop it. So it's going to check. So I've told it to run inside the Docker. So the CTI dashboard that I want it to run inside the Docker container. Can you give me the front end of the project so I can check it? So a link on the network. Now, also, you need to configure your Claude Code. I use Claude Code because I think it's one of the best. It depends on what you're doing. So let's say we do something else. You need to make sure you configure it properly. Depending on what you need, I would install different plugin. You can also install different skills. I have a personal repository that I just clone my skills and then do a bunch of stuff on it. But if you see me using a skill that you think would be useful to you, I can honestly make it open source. I don't think I have a bunch of stuff, but so one thing that I really like is Playwright. Right now, I'm not sure if it's needed anymore, but it allows it to control a browser. And even inside Orca, there is its own browser. So we can do a bunch of different stuff, but I'll just showcase to it. You do space and then I. So it's installed right now. So if I reset Claude, can you use Playwright to test the project in real time? Click every button, make sure that there is no bug on the front end. Okay, so now the project is there. That's something that I'm working on. Here is just like that. I wanted to have a dashboard of every news so that the AI can triage it. And so I have a good idea of if it's useful for me to know. So like July 1st, it's not too far. Well, yeah, it's far. So I wanted to order by relevance. So the entropic is decay. You give an LLM confidence. Basically, I want to use AI to just filter out the news because there's so many stuff going on that I want to know what I need to know. For example, the CVEs, it's, well, as an attacker or hacker or someone in cyber, I would like to know what are the new CVEs that I should take into account. It's like AI news, stuff like that. So yeah, MD did a big news. I really liked when I told it to I wanted it to be like the tweet deck because I like the way it is. That's good. I want you to use GLM instead of the Olama for the summary, for the categorization, stuff like that. So now it's going to just spin up, control the browser, click on everything, and make sure like it's a I really like to use a Playwright or something like that to test the front end. For example, even if the back end, the logs are fine, if a user click on a button and then it crash, you want to know, that's one way to test it. But basically, what I'm trying to tell you is like you need to reflect and know what are the tools that the agent will need to be able to do the test. So if we had an images, if we had videos, for example, in images, it would need to have a vision model. What's called a vision model. And in our case, since it's a CTI dashboard, it needs to be able to search the internet. So one thing that we can do here, something I like to do as well, is like a kind of a meta prompting, but like it's to ensure that I do something like that. I can honestly showcase Ultra Code with it. I recently learned Ultra Code. I don't think at the moment other coding agent, well, harness are doing it, but I'm sure it will come fast enough. UltraCall is a way to do dynamic workflow, and I'll tell you while it's running. Can you make sure to test every possible outcome? Like basically, we're trying to find the news of vulnerability. So, is there something that you don't have access that you think you should have access? Like if you have errors, if you need a tooling to be able to parse a new website, if you're blocked via a website, if there's a vulnerability that you think or a source that you think would be useful for that project, and make sure to test how to access it and give me general direction on what you need. You can also install every package that you need to access that website and test it. You can let me know if you have any question. You can ask me interview style question if you have any or need clarification. Okay, so now I just found an ultra code workflow. What is useful is like, well, I can showcase the documentation as well, but it's going to use multiple agents. The reason it's a dynamic workflow is like I gave it pretty much a goal, and it doesn't know how many agent or steps you would need to accomplish that. So you will see in the bottom once it's done calling everything, but you will see the progress and the number of agents, the plan, but it will expand over time. So let's say, I mean, it's probably going to try to fetch Reddit and not being able to. And once he realized that, he would probably try to install a bunch of stuff or try a different source or try a bunch of different stuff, but it's going to expand the workflow. No, I'm not sure it's really useful to just see Claude Code thing, but it's just something that I know will help a lot of people because even me, like, there's so many information right now. I'm trying to figure out how to tailor and customize the information that's interesting for my use case. Yeah, just testing or being able to see what are the trends, what is useful for us as cyber defenders or attacker, because it's always an issue. Like if you do a pen test and then you test something and you didn't even know that there was a CVE, usually we search while we're doing the pen test, but still, like there's so many stuff, and there's a bunch of stuff that they are not relevant either to your tech stack or the company or whatever you're doing. Like, for example, the news of AMD buying stuff, it's pretty much for me because I want to be on top of what AI is doing because that's what I'm doing right now. But it's not something I would have wanted to see. But a new Claude Code version, a new codex version, a new model, something like that, I would have want to know. And you can honestly tell that because the more you use it, the more you'll be able to know what's useful and not useful. And you can honestly add that. That would be a good idea. Can you adapt the website so that it learns what I want over time? So you can see what I'm curious, what I'm clicking on, and when I can give you feedback, if I want to see it or not. What would be the best way to do that? You can research it, but maybe you can add button or something like that, so that you learn over time what I like, what I'm curious about. If I click on it, if I over it, like just telemetry and stuff like that. Yeah. Before that, I was using like just either my project, the orchestrator, or just a bunch of SSH terminal split up to orchestrate those. But right now, like I can change project directly, so I can have all my project. By the way, like the Orca desktop is running on my Windows machine, so the client, but it's remotely connecting to the server that I showcased earlier. And basically, the reason why I told him to check what is the source that it doesn't have access is like a lot of the time when we build AI tools, we don't know, well, at least that's my experience, but I sometimes never see where it failed. So you give it a task, or you succeed, but it's missing 80% of the information. So it's useless. So you always want to check where it's failing. And it's a lot of the time failing silently. So it's not even giving you, well, accuracy. And one way is to reduce hallucination in that you can use adversarial thinking, well, review, adversarial review. So basically, it's the similar, it's honestly the same thing we do in pen tests. We use an attacker mindset and try to attack your premise via a different endpoint. So let's say, to give you an example, my password is secure. Okay, but how secure is it? Can I steal it? Can I crack it? Can I phish it? That's a bunch of things we try. See, now it's a question. Some things that I see a lot of people doing, they don't really read the output. Like reading is still super important, especially with the more workflow and agent that you have, because you can go really, really fast in the wrong direction. Not necessarily. Yeah, once I click on the button, it could be a summary generated with the LLM to know that if I'm interested in, and then I can open the real article. Also, you can use different Git work trees if you want to work on a project simultaneously with multiple agents. So if they're supposed to write on the same file, you will need to have Git work trees in most cases because you will need to merge the change after. So if you're building a front end and doing all the tests, it might take a while because it's a bunch of stuff, but it's a real showcase on how I work currently. If you have better ways, I'm honestly interested. Right now, like my that's where I'm at with my vibe coding setup. I want to be able to have multiple agents, multiple harness as well. So like we can do some things like Claude generates a plan and then Codex reviews it. We can do a bunch of stuff like that. It's important to ask the agent what it's missing to get to the goal. A lot of people sometimes don't do that. Okay, it added the new source of exploit DB. Yeah, to get this vulnerability, it's useful. There's already a Claude Code config with the LLM API key. And if you don't have an API key for something, like for a source, I mean, you can use Playwright to access it or create a script if you can. But the LLM, like you already have an API from GLM, you can use that for the summary and stuff. I'll showcase to you while it's running, but it's basically dynamic workflow. Think of it like orchestrating a team and a team of sub-agent, and it checks the progress over time. So yeah, we can do a deep research, I guess. But yeah, I want to showcase to you the how to check the progress. But right now it's done on well, it's the client that does it. So it's in Claude Code itself. So if you have a local model, right now I'm not even using a model from Anthropic using well GLM just because it's something that I have access and I don't really have a limit. So that's one of the reasons it's important to check this. Because right now, like it said, the GLM 5 has no balance, and that's not true. So I want to I don't want you to use the entropic compatible endpoint, and you're using it right now, so you do have balance, but it's not a credit. It's a coding plan that I'm using on it. You can use the latest and greatest model for that. It's fine. You don't need another key. GLM is working. Can you tell me the issue that you're having? And yeah, like with everything, it's AI. It doesn't work all the time, so that's why you need to check them. It's important. Like I'm not telling you that it's a magic bullet for sure. It's done. Don't have another workflow yet. I'm asking myself is if I didn't just configure the workflow yet. Can you test if you're able to use workflows or if there's settings that I'm missing? Okay, yeah, that's maybe a speech to text error, but you can use the entropic endpoint. I didn't mean GitHub workflows. I meant Ultra Code and slash workflows inside Claude Code. Yeah, I guess the main ideas was to showcase to you how I set up my vibe coding environment. That's pretty much how I do it. Now I can use it. I can use a bunch of different things, and honestly, like I'll probably just continue to do that experiment because at least I don't know what you want to automate, and I'd be curious to know. But getting the information, or at least how to summarize it, contextualize it for either your company or yourself, it's definitely something that takes me a lot of time to know, like what I need to know exactly for what I'm trying to accomplish. Definitely. And yeah, don't worry. The reason why it's leaking my key right now is because since it's a new environment, I didn't tell it to, well, hide the secrets, but I will change it before uploading the video. And honestly, that's why I like the GLM as well. Like I can create as much key as I want. So for a single project, I create a key and then I revoke it after. But yeah, these are things to keep in mind for sure. Well, the Ultra Code is a keyword based in Claude Code directly. So can we check if we are able to troubleshoot it? If not, I'll try it myself. Can you check if you're able to use dynamic workflow? Yeah, like it helps to know what you're wanting to do because you can troubleshoot stuff like that. Sequential thinking. And now it says it's available. Okay. Okay, then can you give me back the front end link so I can check if it's working well? I want to know, can you spawn a Claude Code autonomously inside Orca with the setup that you have? Can you test that? Because if you have, you can orchestrate Orca with Cloud Code itself. Yeah, I meant the link on the network. Aha. So yeah, I don't want the simple mode. Yeah, you can do the edit. I don't want the simple mode. While you're at it, configure it with the maximum thinking mode. Thinking effort, and make sure we have a 1 million context window. Okay, so you say it's able to. Can you show me an example that you can start multiple code and I can see them working inside Orca? You can use GLM for that. So we don't need a new GLM API key. We can already use one. You can also check the internet to know how to set that up, but I'm using a max coding plan and you're already using the Cosworm. Okay, I really like Orca. It has more feature than what I was building, so I'm trying to learn how to use it better. Again, if you already know how to use it and have some tips, I will take that. I'm far from knowing everything. I'm just learning in public. Can you show me an example of it working? Oh yeah, okay, it's because it's changing the config. Tell him the. Can you also put inside the cloud.md file to not to censor my key? Because right now you're just printing on everything, and yeah, I want it to be secure. Can you add a check inside the front end that when we add an article, I want you to be able to check the link is working, like basically a bunch of sanity check. There's a couple of example where I clicked the link and the link isn't valid. So before putting it inside the platform, I want you to make sure that the link is valid. Yeah, but I don't see them inside Orca or in the terminal that I'm running. Do you have a way to do that? No, I want you to retry the dynamic workflow. I want to showcase it. Yeah, like while we're running, I'm still debugging the setup, but I think it gives you a good example of how I'm using it right now. I know there is a browser and even GitHub issues and that. Oh yeah, maybe you can try. I think Orca has a way to handle issues for a project. Can you validate that if you're able to create it and instruct me how to use it? The reason why I'm doing clear, if you don't know, is like when you send a message in any coding agent, it resends all your context. So let's say I use slash context. Right now I'm using 48K. If I just send a test, it will resend the 48K context. And like you pay, well, in most cases you pay for input and output token, so that will just waste token if you don't. manage your context properly. Can you add a cleanup, like after a week or when something is no longer relevant? I don't want it to accumulate knowledge over time. If it's no longer relevant for what we're trying to accomplish, you can delete it from the database. So I was able to start it, so I guess try it. Passing the prompt via a text file. Okay. When I said to use Orca for it, I do see the tab, but I want to see the full TUI like I'm seeing it right now. I don't want to just only see the output. I want to see it working in real time. Yep, you can do that. Yeah, do we need a Git remote for to use the Orca issue feature? Ah, see, that's cool as well. When there's the question mark, it's because it's asking input or question. I like that. I didn't have that on my own. Okay, link validation. Yeah, nice. So it is able to do it. Yeah, I'm hammering the provider a bit too much, but it's working. Okay, I like it. Now you've created a different tab, but are you able to have like all three running in a single tab? The same way that I use it when I do split terminal. Huh. Is the cron job running as well? That's cool. Yeah, can you think of an improvement and get it added to an issue and then tell me where I can check the issue? Can you spawn multiple agent to rename the project? I don't like the name Chimera. What would be a good other name that we could check? Hmm. Well, I'm wondering, what does the Orca use? Isn't it self-contained inside the platform, or do I need to connect to something else? Sure. I'll probably manage to hit my limit with Orca. Okay, well, it's not that bad. I'm at 17% of my 5-hour quota. Well, yeah, it does work, but I wanted them to be split in width. The same way that when I click on the button split terminal right. We can try with the work tree. Maybe it will work. Also, when an agent that you're running is done, you can do like you already did /exit. Can you close the tab as well if there's nothing else running? Yeah, basically while building the app, I check it and I honestly test whatever we can improve and then improve it like that over time. Can give you an example of what we can do. Like right now, it didn't seem to be changed much, but we listed all the stores that we have. It cleans, it learns from us over time. You can see all the runs, daily brief, or things that happened, yes, I guess, to do. You can summarize a full article now. I haven't tested it since we added it recently, but can have more like this, not for me, whatever. So we can give feedbacks. And that's honestly, oh, we can even star it. One thing that I like that I wanted as well is like I want the comment and the like and the whatever if it's trending or not, because if it's more trending, there's probably more people that are interested. Yeah, you can let me know if that project is helpful. What else are you trying to automate in your cyber role that you think AI would do? Because even if you don't think AI would be able to do it, I can give it a shot and tell you like we can go at least that far. Like right now, I'm doing pen testing reporting and it's not perfect for sure, but at least you would know where or how to approach it and stuff like that. But yeah, uh, that's pretty much the new vibe coding setup that I'm using. We can talk in the school community. Let me know in the comments below if case you want me to test another experiment. See you in the next video, guys, and I appreciate your time. Bye.